Well, they pissed off the judge again. This is day 21 of the Larry Millete trial that's taking place in Chula Vista, California. This is like the 24th video, I think. Anyway, the day starts, this is today. It starts with bringing investigator Matt Grinley back to the stand. It's like the third or fourth time he's been on the stand. They're just doing it in bite-sized morsels to make it easier for the jury so they can remember what each of his segments is about. Anyway, this time it's about the phone analysis, right? So first he tells us that Maya's phone was never found and that there's no communication from her to anybody as of January 7th of 2021, which is the day she went missing. They did look at all the texts. So he analyzed all the texts to and from Larry's phone all the month of January. They talk about January 6th, and we covered this in a previous video when we talked about Larry's boss, Terry, took the stand. I didn't fucking like that guy. But apparently neither do the investigators. Because on January 6th, Larry sent a message to his boss, Terry, and in it he says, quote, "Life is hopeless." Remember, he was texting saying he wasn't coming into work and that he and Maya had been fighting. Then on January 7th, he texts his boss, and these are the quotes, quote, "I'm not right," and quote, "I'm about to lose it." Now, again, this is the day that Maya went missing. Now, these text messages were deleted from Terry's phone. So what happened was they went in to talk to Terry because they were suspicious of Larry. And the investigator described Terry's rapport as being like, not argumentative, but he was a little bit standoffish. He was like, "You're wasting my time. Why are you even here? Like, this is stupid." Kind of trying not to admit anything that Larry would have done. I told you this in the last video. I think this guy fucking covered up shit and he shouldn't have. But anyway, they discovered that boss Terry had deleted these messages from Larry off of his phone. But luckily they had Larry's records. Now on cross-examination, this is where it gets ugly again. Now I want to remind you, go back and watch the previous video because the defense really hammered Jamie Laird, but now they're going to go after Matthew Grinley. So they ask him about all the search warrants because they issued like 30 different search warrants. So he admitted that although he got search warrants for Larry's phone and all of Larry's social media and all of that stuff, he admitted that he did not get search warrants issued for Fusion. I'm not quite sure what that is. It's some communication tool, I guess, or Microsoft Teams. Those are two of the places that Maya and Jamie would communicate with each other. So they were like, "Why didn't you get that? Like, why didn't you care who Maya was talking to? You only cared who Larry was talking to." He was asked on cross-examination if he physically went to the hospital to verify that Jamie Laird was there as he said he was. Like, did you check the guy's alibi? And Grinley was kind of like, "I didn't need to. We had his phone records and there was proof that his phone was at the hospital. So they just took that to be true, that he was there. His wife went into labor on the 7th. The baby was born on the 8th, but they were there until the 10th. So they had his phone records and it showed that he was at the hospital. They took him at his word." Now, the defense attorneys are still up to their old games. They originally asked if they could use that third-party culpability defense, right, where they could point to Jamie Laird. And the judge said, "No effing way. Like, there is zero evidence that Jamie Laird had anything to do with Maya's disappearance. So you are not going to come into my courtroom and pretend that this guy had anything to do with it." But here they are. They've got the investigator up on the stand and they're basically saying in front of the jury, "Why didn't you look into Jamie Laird? Like, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do that? And why didn't you check his alibi?" So they all get excused for lunch. And outside of the presence of the jury, the judge is like, "Come here, we're going to talk about this." And he calls all the attorneys in and he's pissed. And he gives them a warning. He said, "I am placing you on final notice." I'm not sure what that means, but he made it sound very stern. And he said, "We will have no more of this." He's tired of the decorum in the courtroom. The attorneys will not raise their voices. They will not roll their eyes. They will not cough or make noises during each other's testimony. And then he said, "And one more time, I've already ruled on the third-party culpability. I'm gonna say it again. There is no evidence that Jamie Laird had anything to do with Maya's disappearance. So stop going there. You have been tiptoeing around this ruling and I'm done." Now, I don't know what that means if they do it again. I don't know. but he sounded angry, at least from the press reports that I read. Anyway, I think he was giving him this final shot across the bow because Jamie Laird's ex-wife is about to take the stand. And I think the judge is saying, you fucking do this to her. Like, you do this, and he's gonna be angry. So there, they got a stern talking to. Then this is interesting. They had a neighbor take the stand. So this is a guy that lives, I guess, next door, maybe, to Larry and Maya. And he's a car guy. He works on cars. So 2 days after Maya disappeared, Larry walks over to his house and asks him for a quote to detail the Lexus. Okay, remember Larry took the Lexus that day and was gone for many, many hours. And there's this huge gap in miles that he can't say where he was. But anyway, this is all captured on the neighbor's surveillance camera. So we can prove that this conversation took place. According to the neighbor, Larry told him that there were some scratches on the car because he was in, I don't know what this is, Anza Borrego. He says it's a place where people go like off-roading in Jeeps and stuff. Like Maya had a Jeep and they used to go off-roading. But I guess he claims to have taken his Lexus out there and the Lexus got damaged. He says, quote, I kind of ran over some bushes. The neighbor described the scratches as, quote, light scratches that could have been caused by bushes, and that he quoted Larry $1,600 to fix it. But Larry never hired him for the job. And then there were two Jeep owners that testified that the Jeep was new and Maya was just sort of exploring this world of Jeeping. And so they ran into her twice, that she had come out with the whole family. Larry was in the Jeep with them. They'd come out with the whole family to do like off-roading. And basically their testimony was, did you ever see the Lexus out there? Like, did Larry ever come out there in the Lexus and try and off-road in his car? And they were like, no, they were always in the Jeep. And then they also had the family's cleaning woman. I guess she took the stand. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't really say what she testified to. It just says that basically the moment she took the stand and saw a picture of Maya, she broke into tears. And that was her testimony, was the last one of the day today. So still to come, I believe, is Jamie Laird's wife. And Jamie Laird's ex-wife. And I'm not sure how many more witnesses the prosecution still needs to call, but I will continue to come back with more information.